but I will come back to it because we have seen all the solutions for type 1, type 2, type 3a, type 3b, but for type 4, for example, there is not existing really a very good solution. So what can we do? Resubmittation probably does not make any sense because due to some cadaver studies, the interface strength is really decreasing dramatically from revision to revision. So today, this is, as you've heard, the stem of choice. I think this is used in 90%, even more in the meantime, worldwide in revisions of type 3 and type 2 defects. Monoblock or modular, but it's very important. It's a conical stem with according to Wagner's proposal. So we know that these stems have a very, very good outcome in the meantime. We can read a lot of literature about it. The Vancouver group was mainly doing monoblock stems, has also very good results with modular stems. And here's a paper from the Mayo Clinic where they reported a very, very, very good results with the MP stem, which is produced by the Link Company. So here, for example, we have on the right side, we have two loosenings. Right side is type 3b defect, and on the left side, a type 3b to type 4 defect. So what can we do? Our solution is very often in type 3a and even type 3b defects. Of course, the modulars cement less revision stem. But on the left side, you see, I did something else. I did an impaction grafting because there is no isthmus, or not a very sufficient isthmus to fix the cementless revision implant. So I went here for an impaction grafting technique. I'd like to explain you the technique, which is quite simple. You put in a central plug with a central rod in it, and then you fill up the whole canal with bone chips, with allograft, and then you, after filling up the canal, you push in a dummy to create a new bone bed for your new cemented stem. And then you can cement your stem very well. A little bit about the history. The pioneer about impaction grafting technique, it was a guy from Netherlands, Tom Slow from Nijmegen. He developed in the 80s, beginning of the 80s, the technique of impaction grafting for the cups. And then another guy came on the field from Exeter, who took it over, and he took the technique over for the femurs. So Exeter was, which is located in the south of England, was the birthplace of the impaction grafting of the femur. My very good friend Wayne Paprosky is also saying you must have an English accent to do stuff like this, because this is mainly coming from England, from Exeter, which is a nice city, as I mentioned, in the south of England. So they started in Exeter in March '87 with the first case. They improved the technique over the time, and then they reported the first results and published the first results in 1993. So the principle of impaction grafting technique are very similar to all principles that we have in revisions. You have to reach some kind of stability, you have to reach a containment and a very tight impaction with proximal loading of the metaphysis in the canal. There are existing some alternative techniques with this mechanical compressor, but this is not used anymore. Impaction grafting technique, the instruments at least are very simple. Here you see the set of instruments, only a few very, very simple instruments just to impact the bone into the femur and a dummy. And I'd like to show you a short video. about it. Should work. So this was a case of a failed cemented stem after 20 years with some kind of osteolysis. And you start always with the centralizer and with the central rod. Then you prepare your bone chips. I prepare the bone chips always by myself from femoral heads. These kind of bone chips has to be washed out, and after they are free of fat, we can start to fill up the femoral canal with these kind of bone chips, and then you start to impact it. This is a quite risky procedure regarding periprosthetic fractures of the femur. So the Exeter group, they recommend to secure the femur in this situation by 1 or 2 wires, what I also do in the meantime. So you impact it very, very strongly, and then you push in this kind of dummy. This dummy has the same design as the later cemented stem. So you create a hole in these impacted bone, and then you remove this rod, and you see here very well that we have a very nice new bone bed, new cancellous bone. Yes, yesterday I mentioned we need cancellous bone for a long-lasting cemented technique, and then you can re-cement it. Here's the case pre-operatively, direct post-operatively, and 5 years later you can see the very, very good bone remodeling of the graft. And sometimes you can also have to make some withdrawal with regarding the length of the procedures. Here failed some very long cementless revision stem. After impaction grafting, the stem was quite short. So is it really a viable, do you really get a viable bone? Is it really a biological procedure? Due to many publications, obviously yes. So this group, the Ullmark group in the northern part of Sweden, they published living bone after 4 months. They published their sections, and they did also the PET proof. They looked with PET after the viability of the bone, and it worked very well. What about the results of impaction grafting, the published results? Here are the results of the Exeter group. 540 patients from 2 to 15 years with a 10-year survivorship for aseptic losing of 98%, for all lesions of 84%. Now you can say, okay, Exeter, they are a very highly specialized hospital regarding this technique. But if you look in the Swedish registry, you see that the Swedish registry, which represents more than 30 hospitals and not one highly specialized hospital, showed survivorship in the registry for aseptic loosening at 15 years of about 99%. Some other papers here from Netherlands, survival at 17 years, 96%. So it's still a really good procedure in many kinds of bone defects. I use it personally mainly in type 4 defects, and it works quite good. It works also quite good in cases like this. This is a little bit similar case like Wu showed us at the beginning, but it was not an infected case. It was a very young man, 28-year-old, after Ewing sarcoma. He received this tumor implant when he was 14 in 1996, and he came to me, and because everybody recommended him a total femur replacement, but he was 28 years old and his knee was quite good. So I discussed with him to do something else. I lengthened the femur with a mesh, put in some kind, and performed some kind of impaction grafting, as you can see here. After 2 years, And in the acetabulum, I did an structural allograft. After 2 years, it looked quite well. He's very satisfied. I saw him now after 8 years, and it's really looks the same. So the survival rates are really good with infection grafting, and we have to say that revision of the femoral component with infection grafting is still a reliable and durable technique with an acceptable low complication rate with excellent survivorship. And personally, I use it mainly for hygroscopy and type 4 patients. Thank you very much.
Gracias, doctor Gerger. A continuación, el doctor Luis Moreira nos dará la charla Solución Paprosky 1-2.
Muchísimas gracias a los organizadores por considerarme en este evento. Un grupo al que le tengo mucho afecto, por todos los ciudadanos, formadores, diría, lo que ha sido en la parte de artroplastia y reconstrucción articular. Gracias por la invitación. Nos ha invitado el doctor hoy día a hablar sobre lo que va a ser la reconstrucción de los defectos acetabulares, de los defectos femorales, Paprosky 1 y 2, para la revisión.